I play the game with no timeouts. You ride my wave, you're getting wiped out. Big mistakes get wiped out. I spot you like a lighthouse. Watch your moves like a night owl. On a full moon, wolves gon' howl. Can't bounce back, no rebounds. I show up like me how.
Alright, welcome back to another episode of the Tip Off. I am your host, Iceman the Eskimo, and I got my boy on today, Podthorn. What's goody, bro? We're gonna talk about the Nets today. We're gonna talk about some things. You know, I like details. On this podcast, I go into details, you know what I mean? I give fans things that I don't think they notice, or I talk about things I don't think they know, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna just ask you some questions about what veterans you think either stay on the team by the end of the season, or veterans that's off the team by All-Star break. You know what I mean? Let me hear what you think.
All right. So what I think and what will happen are two different things.
Right. Of course.
Or no. What I think and what Sean Marks thinks is is two different things. I believe that you got to get DFS off the team. You got to get Cam Johnson off the team, and maybe you keep one. Maybe you keep Schroeder as that veteran presence. But the challenge is, and where Sean Marks is kind of stuck right now, is that the CBA won't allow him to pawn off these dudes, right? Because if you look at the contracts that was given out to the middle class and lower class players, right? They were getting nickeled and dimed. You know, remember the Suns signed Tyus Jones for like $2 million, and he's been called the best backup in the league for years. He's a analytics darling because he don't turn over the ball. He gets mad assists. If you do his per 36 numbers, he looks like a borderline all-star.
Right.
You know, but he's a bench player. He's and he's perfect over there because he doesn't need shots. He doesn't need possessions where it ends up with him scoring. So he's perfect at the Suns. They should have paid a premium for him, but they didn't have to because the league right now isn't paying those type of dudes. And we have those type of dudes in the form of Cam Johnson, in the form of DFS, in the form of Schroeder. So those cats make too much money almost to trade them. So when the iron was hot, before everybody was really realizing, oh shoot, this CBA got a booby trap in it. You know what I mean? If you go over that second apron, it's like death. And some people don't want to go over the second apron for a team that they know can't beat Boston. So these dudes like DFS and the like, you may want to try to pawn it off on an Orlando or an OKC or such and such, but they don't want to put 18 million, 17 million plus on their contract, on their books. They want a cheap dude, and even though OKC is not really paying anybody, they're only paying Shy. Still, once you reach that salary floor, you'd rather be underneath the cap, be decently good, and not have a guy that's gonna tip the scales, get you over the cap, make you pay a premium for the players, and potentially get you over the second apron where you're really screwed. So getting these dudes off, excuse me, pause, but getting these dudes off the team, let me be clear, is going to be trickier than a lot of fans are talking. Like, fans are just saying, oh, trade them to this team or trade them to that team. Hard to do, considering that teams are it's not really even just the amount of the contract. it's the amount of the penalties that they'll have to pay for going over the apron. You see how much finagling the Knicks had to do. They would have liked to have kept some of those players, but
Facts.
they had to go because they're trying desperately to stay right below the second apron, and even still, they're in jeopardy of going over because they need to fix certain things. If they have to add a player, someone gets hurt, they need to add a player and they add that salary, they're over the second apron. So a lot of teams, as much as I think a lot of teams would like Cam Johnson, they don't like him at, what is it, 24 million, 20, between 24 and 27 million. I know it's de-escalating, but still, you don't want to pay 20 million for a middle of the road journeyman. So a lot of these teams, you're not going to see them make a move until the break, and a lot of them are probably going to balk at that at paying these guys. And we not really. I think Sean Marks might have blew it in terms of getting something valuable before people realized these players are probably more like mid-level exception type of players, and and other teams ain't going to be able to, with this new CBA, ain't going to be able to pay.
All right, so that sounds about right. That sounds about right, because my thinking is, I think Cam Johnson stays. I think DFS goes. I think Bogey goes. Bojan, I think he goes. And
Bojan.
Who else? Oh yeah,
Bojan Bogdan. The J is a Y, like Bojan.
Yeah. I think he goes, and I'm not sure if Shake stays. You know what I'm saying? But I think Ben is gonna stay to the end.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think they might hold on to Schroeder, like you said. I think they might hold on to him. And I think,
like, what's my clue with him? My clue is that they feature him a lot. They're telling his story. They're hyping him up a little. He's been probably the best player on the team, but I think every team needs vets, and you need vets that that can still play, but have that understanding of the league to teach the young men how to be professionals, right? And I think they think he's the one, but if I was the Nets, if I was Sean Marks, I would look at DFS as that. DFS is likable. DFS is down to earth. He's funny. He's outspoken in the locker room, and I feel like you could, if you keep DFS long enough, you could build him up into that archetype of Udonis Haslem type of guy. And the Nets don't have that because the Nets keep changing ownership. The owners don't have relationships with the players. Like if I'm the Nets, I'm trying to build toughness within the group. I don't get a coach to do that. I get Kenyon Martin to do that. I bring him back. He used to wear the same laundry. You bring him back, and he's challenging the players to be tougher. And he's not as a coach, but just as a former player that they may recognize. And he could tell those dudes up front how to develop. He can help. A Clowney, a Claxton, a Williams. But because this owner has no relationship with those guys, he wasn't in New Jersey. It's hard to kind of create that continuity, bring people back to kind of represent what your team plays like and what being a Net is. I think Sean Marks should be investing in that. And if you were going to do that, you do that with DFS. At least that's who I think you do that with.
Well, I think it was DFS at first because they talked about him like that in a way last year. With Cam Thomas when he was first having trouble with the defense. He sat down with him, explaining stuff like that, trying to get Cam to understand the defensive side. But the reason I think he's going to go is because of Cam Johnson's contract, as you pointed out. So that makes me think Cam is going to stay. DFS is going to be out. But what you said is facts, though. I do see him as that guy, and plus he is the defensive guy that Jordy likes. You know what I'm saying? He has. You already know DFS is going to give you defense, no matter the
Right.
size of a player, where you put him, center, power forward, small. He going to try. You know what I mean? And everybody else get to see that he's undersized. He's only like 6'8". You know what I'm saying? Guard and center. So yo, that's wild crazy. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think the younger dudes is like, well, if he's doing it, then you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I gotta go out there and try my hardest to do something like that. So that's what I think. All right. So moving forward, right? So now we talk about DFS playing center. If you had a chance to build this team, right? Because we building right now. And the problem I see on this team, where everyone sees always, is the size that we do not have at center and power forward. You know what I mean? But you need everything. You could upgrade on everything on the roster, but that's the main thing that I see. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying? At this point, fans say, get Ben Simmons off the team. And then you watch Ben Simmons versus Zach Edey, and I'm like, bro, he the biggest dude we got. You know what I'm saying? Like, he the biggest dude we got. They wrong out. He the biggest dude we got. And I don't think fans understand. Like, they just looking at Ben like he's not, you know what I'm saying? He's not himself. Understand the surgery. But as far as when I look at it, I'm like, bro, if Ben sit down, good luck. You know what I mean? Good luck with it. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, how would you upgrade the team if you had a chance to upgrade the team? Well, like positions or whatever would you like to try?
If you don't mind, I know people have labeled you as the Ben guy and all that, but if you don't mind, I wanna kind of delve into that, and then I'll finish it out with the question, because it's a part of what you said, right?
Right.
See, the Ben thing, when you're analyzing it, try not to read the timeline before you analyze. Just watch the games, right? People be like, "Oh, look at this bum ass stat line: 8, 6, and 6." 8, 6, and 6 in 24 minutes is an elite play. Like, I don't think people understand. Like you play 36 minutes, you might be pushing a triple dub every night.
Right.
You know what I mean? And they don't, and for them, they're not noticing like how Cam Thomas plays when Ben doesn't play. When Ben doesn't play, he got to walk the ball up sometimes. When Ben doesn't play, he, you know what I'm saying? It's not like he's getting the ball after, like Ben basically like is like a bowling ball that charges, knocks down all the pins, and during the chaos, he passes it to a teammate. And that teammate either gets an open look or open trip to the basket. And in the third thing, or some kind of hockey assist type of situation, right? So Ben, Ben, if you take out all the emotions out of it, is the perfect stopgap player to get your players through this season. You don't sign them again. You let that expiring come off. You get all that nice cap space, $47 million, which is valuable to us. And then, but in the meantime, for this season, you let him rock. You're not getting anything for him. And anything you get back from him, another team is going to try to trick you into taking on a contract that's holding them, that's jamming them up. And me personally, I'm not helping any of those teams unless they give up a couple of draft picks, which are incredibly valuable right now because of the new CBA. So if you take your emotions out of it, right, for whatever, like, I don't understand. I'll never understand the hate they have for this player. It never made sense to me. Like last year, I was a big proponent. Yo, put Ben with Mikal and see what you got. You can't lose anything, right? If it doesn't work, you trade Mikal. At the time, I'm thinking Houston is still gonna want him. You trade him, you get those 4 picks, and then you let Ben expire. Get him. He's off the books now, and now you got a ton of cap space to add some real veterans to whatever young players you add in the draft. It's like Ben don't stop the Nets from doing any of the things that they want to do, and in the meantime, because he's passing guys open, and even when they win a different way. Like, they're not blowing out teams. They're not like commanding, these games. They beat the last team by 2 points. Who was that? I forget. But still, the point being, he doesn't hurt you. You have a tanking team. If you on mission, all he could do is make the game easier for guys who are stepping up a role, like Cam Thomas, right? And and just to make sure that I answer your original question, now that I've addressed that, can you repeat it again? And I'll focus on that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, your mic is really low all of a
All right.
sudden. Oh, there you go.
All right. All right.
Cool.
So we back. We back.
Yep. We
All right.
back. We
So
back.
yeah. So how would you like knowing what you just said about Ben and what he
Hmm.
does? Like this upcoming draft, there's a lot of talent. So like, how would you if you had a chance to draft? Right? Just saying,
Hmm.
like, how would you try to build it? Like, how would you try to build a roster knowing what we have right now? Just looking at what we have right now, and just all right, if I can find not other than Ace Bailey, like you know what I'm saying, but like a power forward, a center, a you know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
just
got
like
you.
that.
Yeah, no, okay. So the way you build this team going forward is very, very simple. The blueprint is right there for you to look at.
Right.
You have to come away from this draft with not one, with two blue chip players. That it You got 4 picks. You can get you can get a new Nick Claxton in the late rounds. You can get a backup point guard. You can do with the other picks, you do whatever you want.
Right.
But with the first 2 picks, you have to add to Cam Thomas in the starting lineup, or
Mm-hmm.
um or and I know this is gonna freak out the Cam Thomas fans, or you replace Cam Thomas,
Uh-huh.
right? Like, you get a Trey Johnson, you get a VJ Edgecombe, even though he didn't look the greatest the other night.
Right.
You get a guy like that and bring him in. Now you're kind of thinking, who's my two?
Right.
That part doesn't even matter. The part that matters is you come away with two excellent players in this draft. You don't sign free agents in 2025. You sign free agents in 2026. So you come away with two. Then you got to come away with another one potential impact player in 2026 that you're adding to a core of Nick Claxton, Clowney, Cam Thomas, and who am I missing? Oh, Zaire Williams.
Mm-hmm.
You play those, that's your keepers. That's the people who are in the right age bracket rather, and fit the timeline. Then in 2026, based off of what you have, based off of watching another tough season,
Right.
uh, you figure out who are Brooklyn Nets, meaning who fits Jordy's system,
Right.
who fits the organizational vision,
Mm-hmm.
and then you basically add on the free agents from there. You don't want to go back in the business of just adding superstars and then, yeah, we'll just get the superstars in and then figure it out. You don't want to do that. You want homegrown superstars, knowing their strengths and their weaknesses, and figuring out, here are the free agents that I need to sign to put next to these guys to start to compete. Now,
Okay.
OKC did a similar thing, but
All right.
what they were able to do was they were able to um trade for SGA.
Right.
You know, what you call it was wanted PG. They already had SGA. They shot him SGA. You gotta pick. The Knicks was the first sucker, right? You halfway there because you got, listen, I'm a Nets fan. We've been the
Right.
sucker before, right?
Right.
We've been the sucker that said, "Oh, if we just add this little dimension to our roster, we could win it all," which
Right.
was stupid. You knew Darren Williams had wrecked his ankles, and there really was no coming back from that.
Right.
So instead of kind of playing a wait and see game to see where you could go, you get Brook back healthy. No, they lose their mind, and they get fleeced. Right? The
Mm-hmm.
Nets have done that to themselves two times. Once with Harden, the other time with KG and Pierce.
Right.
Now it's our turn to find a sucker in
Yo.
2026.
Right.
It's either in free agency we're gonna get them, and they got a lot
Right.
of interesting names in there, right?
They do.
Or you're gonna get that player via trade, and after 2026, you still have 12, 13, 14 picks, depending on what you get for a DFS Schroeder or I think between the three of them you're gonna get at least one first round
Right.
pick. I
Right.
hope, right? And if you do, then you can add on. That's more uh uh weapons in the depot. You
Right.
feel me? Like they they have to do that first, and then they have to do the draft first. They got to get that right,
Right.
right? I'm hopeful in that Sean Marks can do that part at the very least. You get the
Right.
draft right. I feel like they got the coach right already. I almost feel like they should have did another year with who's
Jacques
homeboy
Vaughn.
from UConn again? Who's the guy
Ja-
that replaced Jacques Vaughn again? What's his name? I'm drawing the blank.
oh, oh, see his
Why we
face.
don't know this dude name? He's
Right.
he's a great player.
That's wild, yo. Hold on. I got it because I see his face. And he
I'm
was
seeing his
hooping.
face too. That's the funny
Right.
part about it. I
Oh
see
man.
his face clearly. Um,
Damn, I
shit.
can't get a name right now. Drawing a
This is
blank,
very
my
bad
damn self.
podcasting
Yeah,
on
right.
our part.
Yo.
but
Oh man.
but
I can't
but
get it.
yeah, me neither. But hey, I smoke a lot of weed. But
I know what
anyway,
you're talking about.
point being, they should have just
Right.
let him be interim throughout this year to completely bottom out. Then next year, when you got like Jordy would have been perfect if you had like an Ace and a Jaeger coming into the team or you know a Dylan and a Maluach. However it comes together. The point
Right.
being, it would have been nice that he could have started now. It started next year versus now, because the losing is gonna wear on him, and because the losing wears on you, it makes you do something early before it was time. You need to take these next 2 years, get the very best players that you can possibly get, bring them in, let them play a year together, before you start adding other veterans. Let them get solidified to make it their team, where even other young guys in the league are looking like, my free agency's coming up. Those young Nets look good. Like I could go be a part of that
Right.
versus what Kevin Durant and Kyrie did. Oh, we going over there, but they're gonna be a part of us,
Right.
and I'm gonna bring DeAndre Jordan with me, and I'm gonna tell
Right.
I'm gonna fire the first coach, and you're never gonna win like that. The Nets have to know that, right? They did,
Right.
like,
Right.
people don't even see the pattern in the sense of they did the same thing with Darren. They get Darren in the building instead of being a shrewd team, maximizing their assets and being opportunistic. they trade a high draft pick for Gerald Wallace.
Right.
You know, it's not that it turned into Dame Lillard. That's the problem. That I mean, that tells you how dumb it was. But
Right.
but you overpaid for a player that they were trying to get his money off the books. In a way,
Right.
they should have paid you. But
Right.
because you were listening to the player who's threatening you to not sign back with you if he don't like the play, like the team, Darren Williams asked for Gerald Wallace,
Right.
and by listening to the superstar, it ruined the team. So
Right.
now we have to learn from those things. Like Sean Marks has to go, okay, I got. Now it's my turn to get somebody. There's a sucker born every day. We were that sucker before. Like we were the ones that gave it all up for Harden, gutted our team, gutted our identity, gutted our personality. Now, it it might have worked, but the reasons why anybody would have told you it would fail, too old. I mean, and not that they were too old, but once you're that age, you're susceptible to being injured and being
Mm-hmm.
out, for months upon months. And it was injuries that killed them. But that's what you
Right.
get when you have a bunch of just older guys. Now you're just rolling the dice. Figure out a way to you're trying to figure out a way to keep those guys healthy to go on a run.
Right.
A lot of championships are made off of just the fact that you had the right amount of health. So not to say that it wouldn't work, but after it didn't work, right?
Right.
You're now in oblivion. You you can't really find a way back. And if it wasn't for the fact that they were able to be opportunistic with an emotional team, and when you let your emotions supersede your intelligence, you make trades like the Knicks made for Mikal. All that
Right.
feel good. Oh, the Villanova boys, yeah. Let's get the whole team back together. And like I used to be talking to Knicks fans, like you sure you want this dude? Like this is the dude. Y'all think he's gonna help you? Yeah, he's just the added piece, the continuity. Like none of them were mad about that draft, but now they're
Right.
4 and 5. They're looking like, oh shoot. Like my dream, just on the side, my dream is to pick Ace Bailey with the Knicks pick. That
Right.
would make
Yo.
listen. Listen, if that would happen, the next day I would rise up out of bed. I'd be like, hopped up out of bed, turn my swag on. Yeah, man, I said, what's up? Yo, the whole world would turn into a cartoon. You ever seen the movie with the dude be walking through the cartoon like
Yeah.
all happy and shit? Next thing you know, it's a parade, marching band behind you. If we could ever turn that Nick pick into a blue chip player that we could stunt on them that scores 61 on them or in the garden and
Right.
takes his shit right on their logo. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then they just watching us be great with Mikal stuck on their team. I would love that.
Yo, to your
I
point, yeah. To your point, that's very much the idea that they need to have. But I keep saying I don't know if they're gonna go 2 years though. For some reason, I have a
Yo,
feeling.
they trying not to go 1 year. They're
Right.
really fucking up right now. Like the Bucks were about to lose today.
Right.
And I think the coach, I was watching the game. They were up by 10 after the half. The coach, Danny Ainge, made a phone call to the coach, like, "Fuck you doing? What the fuck you doing?" The
Right.
Nets got that team's pick. What the fuck you doing? You know this is Mission Cooper. You know this
Right.
is Mission Cooper. What are you doing? And now they're losing 121 to 95. They went
That's
from
wild
10
crazy.
points up to
That's
20
crazy.
points down. They're on mission. And at some point, Sean Marks had to have the same phone call. He might need to just throw signs or something like, what the fuck you doing? Cut
Right.
it. Just don't play no games because 2 games can move you down like 10 slots. This
No,
this
I get
new
that.
lottery is dangerous. If you don't have the first 2 picks, you could end up picking ninth. And
Right.
if you traded your picks a premium, you paid a premium. You traded 3 picks for 2. If you traded 3 picks for 2 in the in something that you control, the Nets team controls whether they win or lose. So if you like miss getting a generational player, a franchise changing player, or at least sets you up to be a franchise changing player. Because if you look at these teams, they're stacked.
Right.
OKC, stacked with young talent. Houston, stacked with young talent. They don't even know who to play. Sengun, Jabari Smith. Sengun, Jabari Smith. Like, they have so much talent that a kid like Cam Whitmore, who would start on the Nets and probably be our best player,
Mm-hmm.
is not getting as much minutes over there. That's who we're competing with. And if they're sitting around bullshitting, winning meaningless games that don't mean nothing towards the organization, the franchise, nothing. If you need to make these, you got to take these incremental steps. The first one is you suck this year, you get 2 blue chip players at least, if not 3. Because
Right.
if the Knicks and the Bucks suck, you might have the chance to get 3 lottery picks. So you can't fuck this up because
Not for
you,
yourself.
no, not with something you can control. You may never have this chance again,
Right.
right? Just because you
Right.
pick it in 2026 again, you might be better than what you are
Right.
right now in 2026.
Right. Right. Right.
You have to stay on task. These you gotta
You
get
heard?
these. You gotta lose these games, man. I'm sorry, but
Sean Marks, you heard? Pod out here talking, giving you that smoke right now. But yeah,
yo,
that's why I
like,
said I don't think they wanna for some reason I don't think they want to go 2 years. I think once they hit this draft, and if they do end up with a top 3 pick, which everybody keeps saying they still think we're gonna get, I think once they get like whoever they get, Ace, Cooper, or Harper, I think they're gonna look to the free agency and go from there. That's what I think because I hear Sean
but
and I hear
but
Joe.
if you map it out, let's go. If you map it out, right?
Mhm.
You map that shit out. You look at the free agents next year. You see that next year is not a good free agent year.
Right?
You
Because they ain't that
relax,
many.
right? You relax this year. And then you try to get in the top 3 next year because you got Cam Boozer and you got AJ DeBanza in that draft. You want your hat in the ring to get one of those players. Because if
Right?
you could ever, like, 2026 is not far away. It don't feel like 2021. It feels like 2021 was just yesterday. But
In
it's
fact,
2024. Times has changed. You
right,
have to do everything in your possibility to be able to get a kid like AJ DeBanza in that next draft.
right.
Because that kid, you mind me to give you a little scouting report on him?
I
I
got I
thought,
got the scout for the fans. Hold on, Pod. For the fans who don't know about AJ, Pod going to give you his scouting report, bro. You know what I mean? I hope
look,
y'all listening. All right.
I thought AJ would be the shooting guard. Like, let's
Uh-huh.
say, because in my 2K mind, I was going, we if we get Ace, can we get AJ? Can they play together? Hell
Right.
yeah. AJ is playing center in high school. He like
Right. Because
at
he's six
Utah Prep
nine.
or whatever the school is. He
Yeah.
plays the 5, the 4, the 3. He's under the basket grabbing rebounds, and
Right.
he's like looking at his body type compared to Ace. You could tell he went to elite high schools where they put muscle on him.
Right.
Ace, Bailey went to McEachern. He
Right.
just rolled out of bed and went to his local high school and
Yep.
and went to that school. AJ DeBanza has been a mercenary going from high school to high school, elite high school to elite high school. They paid him something to go out to Utah. He's from Boston. The fuck is he doing in Utah? Right?
Right.
But
He way
BYU
out
is starting to have you starting to see BYU starting to pay these players to come that,
to
they
their
paying that
school.
NIL money, and the
Right.
Mormons got it. So he's out there probably getting ready to go to BYU. If I had to guess, he hasn't picked his school yet, but if I had to guess, he's probably going to go to Brigham Young. Now,
Mm-hmm.
saying all that, he's more diesel. Like
Right.
you could never play ace at the center, even in high school, because he's not
Don't got the body.
big and strong enough, right?
Right.
Now I project Ace Bailey as a small forward. DeBanza probably would be considered a small forward too, but if you were able to get the two of them, one of them you can have a 6'11" shooting guard.
Right.
You can. Oh, please don't let Breezy hear this, because don't let Breezy hear this, because
Yo.
he don't want nobody to sub. But listen, I like Cam Thomas too. I think he's gonna be an elite scorer in this league for a long time. But if I could pair AJ DeBanza at the 3 and put a Ace Bailey at the 2, with
Whew.
potentially like someone like a Boogie Fland, a Dink Pate, and God forbid they were able to get a 6'9" point guard in
Igor.
in in Yegor
Yeah. Yeah, Gore. Yeah.
uh
Demon.
Demeen, right? So
Yeah.
now you got 6'9" Yegor Demeen, who's only 18. You got you got another 18-year-old in AJ DeBanza, maybe at the shooting guard, small forward, and then you got another 18-year-old at at the small forward. Like, it's basically two wings, playing
Right.
off each other. That both of them could shoot threes and are elite scorers. And you have this kid Igor Demeen, who's 6'9", that's feeding them the rock. And then you can also have Claxton and you can also have Claxton and
Clowney.
Clowney up front. That's a crazy team.
That's a
You if
tall. Yo.
it's
That's a
a
gigantic
modern
team.
NBA team. It's a modern NBA team, and the Nets have so many draft picks next year that they could, down at the bottom where they in a better draft, down at the bottom where they got Claxton, they probably could get another center that's better,
Hey.
that's taller,
That's what
better.
hey,
Like,
that's what
I'm
fans don't
sorry,
want to talk about. That's what fans don't want to talk. Hey, that's why I asked
because
that
they
question,
fall in
because
love with
fans
these
don't.
players.
You said it.
They're
You said it. They
prisoners
don't
of the
want to move
moment, is what I
on. They
call them.
think what we got, they love, and they like, yo, Claxton is it. Some fans think Claxton is not. But my whole thing is, right, if you can upgrade on somebody, you would do it.
You gotta
If you
do
can
it.
go in the draft and say, all right, Clowney is not a dribbler. He's a catch and shoot, and he can
Mm-hmm.
rebound and block. Now at that position, what don't I have? I don't have a creator. So why wouldn't
Right.
you get somebody who can do those things, and he will go to the bench? You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you need. The
Right.
versatility is what you're talking about. You need the versatility. That's why I say, when I look at Ben, and you can put him at the center, you could put him at point guard. It's versatility that fans don't understand. You can't put Dennis at
Right.
point and play him at center, because, bro, that's not gonna
Right.
work.
He's a
Versatility.
liability in places.
Right, right. So the versatility, that's why I look at, if I was to build a roster, it would be guys that, like you said, I could play Ace at the 2, or I could play Ace at the 3. I could possibly
Well, I could
put
play him
Ace
at
at the
4.
4 just to space the floor, right? Like, I could move him wherever I feel like the matchup I could win. AJ's the same way. He's 6'9", 2, 3, 4. Like, bro, you know what I mean? Igor, Demon, you can play him at the 1, the 2, and maybe you can put him at the 3 too. Like, bro, those are the type of players that I would love on a roster, because they're chess pieces.
Right.
Wherever I see fit during that game, oh, you got the mismatch? Let's run with this. You know what I mean? And make it work.
Right.
So fans got to stop falling in love with the players we have just because They don't see the talent. You know what I mean? They see what we got. Like, oh yeah, he's best right now. Like, bro, you can always upgrade. You can always up. That's why we got cell phones, because we can always upgrade.
Let's go. I watched Trey Johnson the other day. Right.
Yeah.
And I'm watching it and I'm laughing, right? Because he was just, that game just showed me like, yo, he might be the best shooting guard in that, right?
College. Yeah.
Just because he had a dominant game. And I'm laughing. I'm like, in one draft, usually you go into a draft, you're like, oh yeah, I like that player. He's, Trey Johnson. Nah. You know what I'm saying? He might be good. But they could literally come away from this draft with Ace Bailey and Trey Johnson. That's a hell of a start.
Right.
That's a hell of a start. You know what I mean? And then down at the bottom of the draft, you find, and there's gonna be dudes that's there. You could get a Derek Queen type of player.
Oh yeah.
This draft is crazy.
And hella crazy. And that's why I don't think fans understand, because the way that I see it,
none of these dudes, none of them.
Yeah, you don't have the versatility on this team at all. Clax, you can't move him nowhere. Dayron, you can't move him nowhere. Clowney, they trying to put him at center, but he's not a center. He needs to stay at the power forward, and you can't move him up to the 3 because he can't create. So there's no versatility at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, at all. There's none. And that's what you look for. Exactly what me and you talking about. You're looking for versatility for the team, and that creates problems. Just like, would you say, Boston? Jason Tatum, you can move him. If you really wanted to, you can move him from the 4 to the 2. You know what I mean? If you really wanted to, and he could create problems at wherever he goes to. That's the type of players that you need to build with, as you pointed out.
Right. And it's like you get rid of Cam Thompson. Like, I've been really analyzing. Like, last night I was on Breezy's show with Leaf. It was just me, Leaf, and Breezy. And we had a good conversation. I know he didn't like what I was saying, but I pointed out to him, I said, Cam Thomas is 6th in the league in usage rate. He has a 32% usage rate. That's high.
It's very high.
You can't have a 32% usage rate, and it's got to be one or the other. If you got 32% usage rate, you either have to have 28 points a game, or you have 6 assists.
Right.
Right? He's in the 22 to 24 range type of thing. That's not, and with 3 assists, that's not enough. That's not enough for to have a 32% usage rate. So what does that look like to, right? But when you look at those numbers, and it's not about stats. I watch basketball, you know what I mean? But still, I'm watching the game and I'm seeing a player that don't know how to pass out of double teams. Like his mentality to, when he gets the ball and the defensive focus is on him, his mentality is Kobe. Like, I'm just gonna do some shit real quick and fall away, take a hard shot and make it. That skill set is an off the bench scoring. That's Jamal Crawford. That's Williams.
Lemon pepper.
Yes. that's that kind of player. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But what we're trying to find out this year is can he take the step to be a starter leader on a team?
Right.
If you're gonna have the ball 32% of the time, right? You can't have Schroeder with better numbers than you. Cannot. Cannot. His usage rate is 26, 27. You cannot have him outscoring you and having 6 assists.
Right.
That's it's like Jay said, he's all right, but he's not him. Right?
Yo.
Right?
Killing me.
Right?
No, I get it though. I get it. I get it.
But how dominant of a team are you when you've got players like an ace and or a Trey Johnson or Yegor Demine or I don't like Traore. I've been watching him in France.
He
My
just
guy in
to me,
France is Noah
yeah, he
Senge.
just has
You
a
get a Noah Senge on this team. He was shooting
oh yeah,
50% for the beginning of the season from three.
bro, that dude. I talked to you about that dude. Now I'm like I'm seeing him. And I'm like, yeah, Pa right about dude. It just throws me off with the center, but now I really see that he's a huge wing. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He's just a
he's a
big
gigantic wing that
wing,
can
bro.
rebound.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying?
They might.
Well,
I
yeah.
think he might develop because he's only 17. He's exactly the same age as Cooper Flag, right? He could that. It's just the opportunity
Talent.
that Sean Marks has right now
Yeah.
is why I think it's crazy. People were talking about make a trade for Giannis. Are you out your mind? Like if it was if we had like drafts like the 2024 draft, the 2023 draft, like where it's like, is this dude or that dude? Is he good? Some Euro,
Right. When it's not that many, right?
right?
You got very
In
few to
this
choose from, and you
draft,
gotta get extra lucky.
that's right. In this draft, I haven't even mentioned Dylan Harper.
Right.
I'm not even thinking about Nolan Traore. We didn't
Right.
even talk about what happens if we draft VJ Edgecombe.
Right.
His
Right.
his draft stock might fall because he picked the wrong college team. I
Team.
saw
Yeah.
that in
Yeah.
their
Yep.
first game. You know what I'm saying? So as you're thinking about the Nets, if you're Sean Marks, you gotta do like what Ainge is doing. Ainge is not playing around.
Right.
Ainge is like, yo, we are getting Cooper Flag. I know the NBA. The NBA is about narratives, right? It's an
Facts.
entertainment. It's an entertainment vehicle. It's not necessarily a competition vehicle. The Olympics is a competition vehicle. The
Mm-hmm.
NBA is an entertainment vehicle. That's why they changed the rules. That's why you can't foul no more. That's why when it was Stern, he was like, "Yo, y'all can't come through these tunnels looking like Allen Iverson." They are packaging a product, and
Right.
that product is only as good as the parity for the teams that like. If Utah feels like they'll never win, that's not good for the NBA. So they're gonna set up to have Cooper go over there because Cooper is the only superstar player that will stay in their mind, that will stay
Right.
in a Utah and love it and be
Right.
playing with Kessler and Laurie Markkinen, and they'd be a big team, and they'll probably find another guard that'll fit out there. They're trying to find the new John Stockton out there. And so the NBA, I already know the NBA is fixing Cooper to Utah, and Ainge ain't playing no games. He's
He
on
making sure he get
task.
them.
He's on message. He's
Right.
getting Cooper Flag. So now but that's okay. That's fine. That's
Right.
fine. The net
Have at it.
the Nets have to get number two, and they can't miss on the rest. That's it.
Right.
That's the ball
Right.
game. But
Y'all hear it. Y'all hear it, folks. Y'all hear it. The Nets can't miss on number 2, which is Ace. All right. You know what I mean? So we're gonna switch to the last topic I got. And this is watching these games, and like I said, I like going into detail because fans don't understand the details of the game. As you said, Cam Thomas. I don't like to talk bad about players. I just like to talk about things that I see that I don't think fans notice or pick up on, like what's going on during the offense or certain things. So my thing is, I noticed I had to watch the games before I came on. The pick and roll. There's two things that I noticed, right? Cam Johnson, three. I'm gonna name the players: Cam Johnson, uh, DFS, and Cam Thomas, right? And Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton. There's two different types of pick and rolls, and they have trouble understanding how to run these pick and rolls with Ben and how to run it with Clax. I think Dennis Schroeder's the one that understands both. right? So when I watch Dennis, he runs it correctly. So I'm gonna start with Cam Johnson, and I'm gonna start with Cam Thomas too. If Cam Johnson is not on the wing and he gets a pick and roll from Ben Simmons, he wants to stop his motion and pass it immediately. Well, Ben is holding your guy back, right? He's holding your man so you can create a little bit of a space to operate. Either you can score for yourself or he's going to run by later. You know what I mean? He's going to hold your guy long enough that you can create a little bit. But I don't think they understand that. So they're looking for the quick, like Ben is not Claxton. Claxton's going to roll quick to try to beat someone down. But Ben is going to hold. He's going to delay. So either you're going to score or you're going to make a play out of that because they're going to collapse the paint. And sometimes Ben sees that they're going to collapse the paint. So it's a ping pong. If you can move the ball, there's other ways to score. And I think they have trouble because Dennis, with Ben on the wing, he does the little fake skip. Ben is still moving. Then Dennis makes a decision. Oh, Ben not coming up this time is all me. You know what I mean? I got it off the backboard floater, or I could dish it to somebody else who's cutting. And I think Ben has to realize, too, that those guys, Cam, Johnson, DFS, and Cam Thomas, they don't really understand his pick and roll. Because I always see Dennis, before Dennis even scores, he looks back before he makes a choice. It's a real quick glance. Oh, Ben's not there. And then it's on me. I got space to operate. I can make a decision. So doing those things, I noticed with Claxton, too. Claxton rolls quickly, and they might miss the lob to Clax because he's running by too quick. So they looking for the little pocket pass instead of looking for the lob, right? The miscommunications I like to talk about with understanding the offense, and they do the same thing with Ben. I feel like they probably miss about 15 lobs to Ben so far because they're not understanding the timing and where to throw the ball at. It's like, if I don't get this, then I can't throw the lob. You know what I'm saying? If he's not running by me where I can just pocket pass, I can't do it. I'm like, bro, oh my gosh, y'all missed so many plays, and I don't think fans understand that's what's going on during the games that they got to figure out. So what do you see, or what do you think?
So for me, when I analyze these plays, I recognize that, one, a lot of it has to do with continuity and chemistry. A lot of it has to do with, these are guys really still strangers. For all the people that tell you, oh, you can't have Axton and Ben out there at the same time, they only played 9 minutes together or like less than 90 minutes. It's either 9 or 90, but either way, that's not long enough for two players to get any kind of rhythm or understanding how to play together. They just go, oh, you can't have 4-man out. Like, you create space with 3 men, and sometimes you create space with 2. If you have a shooter on the left and a shooter on the right, the defense is always going to have to hedge a little bit to go, deal with that shooter in the corner. The Nets always have the luxury of having 3 shooters, left, right, and at the top, right? So when Ben has the ball in his hands, he's either has the choice of 3 different shooters or throwing or throwing or creating for Claxton, right, underneath. Now, the problem is that I only use that as an example that these, especially with pick and rolls take time. The great pick and roll teams, like the great pick and roll combinations, are usually together 2 and 3 and 4 years. That Denver Nuggets pick and roll, it didn't look like that before. It didn't look like how clean it looks and how they know how to run it to perfection. They could run it with they could run it with the point guard. They could run it with the power forward. That comes with continuity. So when I see it almost kind of being mechanical and not necessarily working, it's very clunky if the way it is right now. Right? It's just the reason why Schroeder looks so good is because guess what is the number one part of the offense of Team Germany and the way they play, in Europe? his pick and roll. He's been running a pick and roll since he was a 16-year-old playing pro in Germany.
Right.
So that so when I'm analyzing the pick and roll, I'm not too critical and I'm not too upset with its dysfunction. Only because I recognize this is a Band-Aid team. The Band-Aid about to be ripped off. A lot of these components aren't going to be there, and I'm more looking at can Zaire Williams learn how to run a pick and roll? Can a Watford, when he gets back, when he's healthy, can he bring the ball up and run a pick and roll with someone? And then another thing is, I don't like everyone keeps telling me that Cam Thomas could play the one. I just don't see it. He's the one size, but if you're just not naturally adept at passing the ball, like they're gonna say, oh, he could get better. Harden didn't just start averaging a triple-double or a double-double every night. He was getting 6 and 7s, assists a game off the bench. At OKC. So you can see that he had an acumen for it. Now Cam is 23, 24, which is still very young, and he could get a functional one, but it's not going to be an NBA go-to play used out of timeouts. And guess what? Most of these guys ain't going to be here next year. So getting a pick and roll chemistry, it almost don't even make sense. But I do see the potentiality of it. It's just it's gonna be mechanical because they don't know how to do, like, these dancing bears that we call NBA players. They have to learn how to do the choreography together, and right now they don't. They just don't have it. It just takes time, and by the time they do get it, we'll be scouting the draft.
Yo, you heard it here first. You know what I'm saying? We talk real basketball.
No, I know that's not a great answer, but it's the truth.
No, it's a good answer. I think fans will understand that, you know what I'm saying, with the dialogue of pointing it out. You know what I'm saying? When they watch the games and they hear what we talking about, they will see like, oh, like they did just miss Ben on that lob. Like, oh, they ain't throw Claxton that lob either. Like they start to pick up and recognize certain plays. Like, oh, I see what he's talking about. He should do the skip pass. He didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Like those are things I like to point out because fans just look at the game and just like, oh, you know what I'm saying? This person not scoring or this guy's not doing this. Nah, it's a team thing. It's a chemistry thing. You know what I'm saying? It's a collective thing. It's an understanding. It's not just IQ. You know what I mean? It's just not your IQ.
It's a trust thing. Like and a lot of times, like when I defend Cam Thomas because I like the player. I like the player. I like how he's developed himself into an NBA player. I respect that very much, and I respect his synergy with Yordi. The only my challenge is when you ask him to do these other things, it takes away from what he does great. That's what's happening when he's having these 11-point games. It's not just that his shot isn't falling. It's that he's having a hard time just trying to, be in between of his game of I'm a creator and I'm a passer. It takes away from him. Just let him be him. Let him just go out there and just do what he does, like to the fullest. Because honestly, that's what's really gonna tell you what kind of player he is. Is if Cam is a starter, and if I'm gonna tout him as a starter, he got to get to 6 assists. He has to get to maybe not 6, but like 5.
5.
4
5, 6 is the number. 5 or 6 is the number. I'll tell you why, because I agree with that. Because a lot of people like to compare the scoring of Cam to like a Jamal Murray or Brandon Ingram. But what they don't realize is them dudes got 6 assists. You know what I'm saying? They got 7 assists. You know what I'm saying? The scoring is up and down for them guys, but them assists stay right there. 6 or 7 assists. You can almost bet every night they're gonna have something like that. At least averaging 6 or 7 assists for the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's the baseline. Like there's dudes who shoot every time. There's dudes who have high usage. Luca's I think number 1 or number 2 in usage rate. But guess what? Luca's getting 9 assists a game. He's
Right.
jacking. He's getting shots up. Don't get me wrong. He letting that thing go. But at the same time, when he sees doubles, he passes out of them. You,
Right.
they
He knows how
they
to.
come for you. That means somebody's open, right?
Facts.
And that's a skill you learn. They're coaching it to my 11-year-old right now.
Right.
You see the double team, you split it. Use 2 hands. You split it. Bounce pass right in between them.
Right.
Right? They're teaching children that. But I think what happened with Cam was he was a Kobe fan. He grew up a Kobe fan, and he misunderstood what Kobe was. Because guess what? Kobe will get you 5 assists,
Right.
right? If Kobe will get you 5 assists, Cam, you need to do better than 3,
Right. Right.
especially when you're not averaging 28. If you were averaging 29, I can't say nothing.
Right. Them
You,
3
you got
assists is straight.
32% usage rate. You averaging 28, 29 points. I just hold up my hands. You got it, Cam.
Right.
But you averaging 24, 23.
You got to get them assists. You
You
got
can't
guys that you
average.
can get assists too. You know what I mean? You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You just gotta keep working on it. It's not.
He,
It's not the see. And I want fans to understand. It's not that guys miss shots and then those are, you know what I mean? Like, oh, those he could have had those, because if you think those matter for him, imagine what it matters for Ben or Dennis. You know what I mean? Them
right.
dudes should be like a 15 assists, 20
Yo,
assists a game,
I
bro.
swear Ben should average 10 assists a game. They miss. Like they'll miss when he gets them a wide open one, and they'll step back and take one and hit that one.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I don't pay attention to it like that, because that that's showing favoritism to a player. I'm a Nets fan.
Facts. Right.
You understand? I want the glory for my borough. It was a beautiful thing to see the Liberty March back into Manhattan through Brooklyn and celebrate a championship. That's a beautiful thing. Whether 1 million people or 10,000 people showed up, it doesn't matter.
Right.
They won the very last game of their season, and we are champions now. Like I'm taking credit because it's it says New York on the chest. I'm from New York, but point being is I want to see the Nets go down Flatbush Avenue celebrating a championship. And so
Facts.
when I'm critiquing these players, I'm critiquing them not based off of what I like, or I'm basing it off of what is the fastest way of ending this curse in New York. You feel me? Like
Yeah.
we've had a drought that's too long. I'm old.
Facts.
The next championship is older than me. So
Right.
so I know it's bad. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and I would love nothing more. I will go visit my grandpa's grave that day, because all we used to talk about, our main connecting point used to be about the Brooklyn Dodgers. And he'd tell me about going to the games, and when he came back from World War II, he would walk up to the games and pay 15 cents to get in. They used to have a Negro section and they took it away. Like, he's telling me all these things about Ebbets Field and about
Right.
finally winning a championship,
Right.
and then having his heart broken maybe the year after, or the year after that, and went to LA. They snuck out of here, is what he said. He said
Right.
he said the Dodgers snuck out of here on us. And
That's crazy.
to have that legacy in my family, to talk about it with my father and my grandfather and my son, I would love my politics, my bias is for Brooklyn to be a champion. You see what I'm
You heard
saying?
it?
Let's go.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the rest. So I'm watching Cam Thomas and all these guys. What role could you play on a championship team? If I want to be the best team in the league, not
Right.
just good,
The
not just
best.
I want to be the best team in the league. Is Cam Thomas my starting shooting guard? You gotta think about that. You gotta
Right.
watch the games. It's early. There's no determination, but it's very early. He may come out to be one of the next James Harden, but he
He
has to
could be.
do it. He has to
Right.
do it. If you want to be James Harden, not loafing on defense and kind of playing like, you have to put James Harden numbers up. James Harden's
Yeah.
putting 32 up. You find a nigga to play defense for a dude who's putting 32 up and
Right.
10
Right.
and 8,
Right.
right?
Yeah. Right.
You play defense for him. Oh, he missed, that was his bone. Shut up. You
Right.
play
Right.
defense for the dude
Right.
that gets 32, 8, and 10.
Right. You help out. Y'all better
Right?
rotate while he out here putting in work.
Right? So like when I'm watching, I'm just looking, are these components for a championship team? Noah Clowney, is he a component for a championship team? I say yes.
Nah.
You know why? Because he's gonna be a big man that could shoot 40% from three.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
Right? You
Yeah. I agree.
people talking about he got a dribble drive. No. He has to be a threat. He could be Robert Ory. I don't care. But if he could be
Right. It's going
40% from three from them corners, then that's gonna
that's
give space to these stars who are creating offense and going to the bucket. That's all I can look. That's how I'm judging. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So I won't go into the diatribe of my championship dreams, but that's how I'm analyzing the game. I like these players, especially when they're wearing our laundry. But at the same time, it's like, you know, what is DFS gonna do for us if we dependent on him to start? That's what we're doing.
Right.
It's not the
Right.
right move. DFS, when I look at him, I'm analyzing. If he's a part of a championship team, who is he? He's Udonis Haslam. He's that
Blue guy.
physical spirit. He's the enforcer. He's like those type of roles he could play.
Right.
He's not gonna be here. But if you were to keep a vet, and they're going to keep at least one,
Yep.
they might get jammed up and can't trade these dudes. But as we discussed earlier, but they're gonna keep one. And I'm just looking, I'm watching, I'm like, can this dude be a healthy component to a championship team? And we'll see. We still analyzing to do.
Right. You heard it here, folks. That's all I got for y'all. You know what I mean? With me and Pod chopping it up. Y'all know my slogan. Y'all don't gotta like, y'all don't gotta subscribe because I don't know nothing. You heard?
Word.